Glitz, glamour, fame, and the promise of fortune. There's a lot of temptation for those who desire such things. Young aspiring actors and actresses would often flock to Vinewood Boulevard in search of stardom during the 60s and 70s, hoping to break into the movie scene, walk the red carpet, and maybe, just maybe, get their name etched in history upon the Vinewood Walk of Fame. And for one such aspiring individual, a young hopeful starlet by the name of Leonora Johnson, that dream would come true. Beginning her career in waitressing before finding employment modelling for printed ads, then moving on to television commercials and minor roles in movies, in 1973 Ms Johnson would catch her big break. She caught the eye of Richard Majestic Productions for a motion picture titled Rum Runner, where she played a wisecracking courtesan. Media outlets publicised that she stole every scene she was in. She would of course have her critics, as every successful actor or actress does, in which the media would also describe her person as a pretty face to watch without perhaps too much spark in her eyes. But Leonora would not let this faze her. She was young, determined, and would continue on with the work she loved. It was rumoured that she was set for a leading female role in The Many Wives of Alfredo Smith. However, tragedy struck before that role ever reached Leonora's doorstep. On January 17, 1975, following an anonymous tip provided to the Los Santos Police Department, Leonora's remains were uncovered beside the Land Act Dam. Beaten, mutilated, tortured and assaulted. As reporters had gotten wind of the crime scene as well as the LSPD, they arrived prior to the police force, examining the scene for their next big story, and inadvertently tampered and trampled over any usable forensic evidence, leaving the police department with a severe lack of clues. Due to this, the case went cold. As the years passed, the sadistic individual who committed these heinous acts to Leonora would torture the poor girl's family by making anonymous phone calls to their home, sending them mementos such as the victim's locket, and in one truly horrifying act, upon the anniversary of her murder, sent Leonora's severed lips to their home address. But with police left in the dust, it was left up to the citizens of Los Santos to uncover the truth. Who killed Leonora Johnson? Welcome to the video. You're listening to Phil of Filbee Gaming. If you enjoy the following, you all know what to do, and if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Without further delay, let's delve into the mystery surrounding the death of Leonora Johnson. We learn a little more detail of the unsolved mystery from an episode of The Underbelly of Paradise, hosted by Federal Bureau of Investigation agent Steve Haynes.
Of course, to become truly popular, your murder has to be both unsolved and gruesome. In a town full of alien spotters, adults dressed as zombies, and entertainers dressed as cartoon characters, it takes something particularly awful to really catch people's attention. The famous unsolved murder of a Vinewood starlet is one such case. For years, horny nerds have wondered what happened to Leonora Johnson, and if they would have plucked up the courage to speak to her or kill her themselves. It's inspired filmmakers, writers, and copycat killers. Conspiracy theorists have blamed various celebrities, the mayor, the Soviets, short skirts, women's liberation, and hidden aliens embedded amongst us for the murder.
But just who was Leonora? Well, let's look at what we know of the young lady's history. Leonora Johnson was born August 29, 1952 in the Midwest. Her father, Harold, was a chicken farmer, and her mother, Ellen, was a slopper at a dairy farm. She suffered lung problems due to heavy smoking during childhood. At school, Leonora was an unremarkable student, but hit puberty at an early age and attracted a lot of attention from other students and school faculty. At 15 years old, Leonora dropped out of high school and travelled to Los Santos by hitchhiking to escape from her uncle, and dreamt to become either a movie star or a model. After working as a waitress for several months, her natural beauty and childlike naivete caught the eye of the entertainment industry, and Leonora became a common face of the Vinewood party circuit and casting couch. So how did we go from a somewhat unhappy childhood to becoming a popular face in the world of Vinewood to this? In consideration to the contaminated crime scene, leaving the police literally clueless, the world took it upon itself to reopen this closed case. A website was created by a gentleman named Jeff Campion, a gentleman himself who was admittedly obsessed with not only the death of the actress, but her life as well. The opening page to the website WhoKilledLeonoraJohnson.com reads as follows. On January 17, 1975, the dismembered, mutilated body of young Vinewood starlet Leonora Johnson was discovered by the side of the Langdak Dam following an anonymous tip-off to the LSPD. Her killer was never found. It became the great unsolved murder of the 20th century and an unhealthy obsession of mine for my entire adult life. I don't know what first drew me to Leonora. Something about that auburn hair, those green eyes, that sad smile, the photos of her skinny dipping that her uncle sold to the Los Santos Meteor the day after her death. A jaded detective in an episode of The Science of Crime once told his young partner, "Know the victim and you will find the killer." And I've sacrificed 30 years, 2 marriages, and a promising career as a photocopier salesman to knowing Leonora in every way imaginable. Some that I'm not proud of, but I will uncover the truth. Why were the police so slow to react? Why was the case closed so quickly? Why did the murderer disfigure the body in such a horrific and deliberate way? Still today, there are many more questions than answers. My beautiful, vulnerable Leonora, I won't let you down like all the others. I won't forget. How can I? My basement is wallpapered with pictures of you. I won't stop until justice is served. Following a clue mentioned in a Weasel News broadcast by Ira Richards, son of Solomon Richards and grandson to David Richards, founder of Richards Majestic Productions, who stated that David, when intoxicated, spoke of a letter torn into pieces and scattered around the city. The letter in question, the confession to the murder of Leonora Johnson.
Since 1975, the brutal murder and dismemberment of starlet Leonora Johnson has remained unsolved and captivated conspiracy theorists. Now, there may be a breakthrough. Ira Richards, vice president of marketing at Richards Majestic and grandson of movie mogul David Richards, told a reporter that his grandfather claimed to have destroyed a confession letter in the weeks before his death. Mr. Richards Sr. passed away last year at the age of 103. His son, Solomon Richards, has run the family studio since 1978 and told reporters he knew nothing beyond the fact his son was a moron and his father was delusional.
Other portions of the website depict the character and history of Leonora, but as we've discussed this already, I'll leave it on screen for a moment for those wishing to pause and read through, should you choose to do so. In the What We Know section, we're provided with more graphic details of the slaying. From these text inputs, we learned that the murder didn't just happen at the scene of discovery, as the body had been cleaned and posed like a gruesome piece of art. Leonora's head had been decapitated, as well as some of her facial features being removed, such as the lips that were mailed to her family. Her hands and feet were removed, then interchanged with one another. Part of her left thigh had been severed and positioned next to her remains, with the inscription of Ham etched in the flesh. The shape of a star had been burnt into her back with cigar burns. Her breasts had multiple incisions, there were faint signs of intercourse, and lastly, several people came forward with false confessions, seemingly trying to get their name in the papers. Lastly on the website, we have the main players, the top suspects in the murder of the actress, their connections and potential motives. Firstly, we have Mitch Dexter, an actor who portrayed the lead role in Nelson of Naples. There were rumours that himself and Leonora had some form of relationship during the spring of 1969, 1 month prior to her death. During an interview with the Daily Globe in December of 1974, Leonora described how a high-profile celebrity had taken advantage of her before her 17th birthday. Was she referring to Mitch Dexter? Next we have Harold Johnson, Leonora's father. Some believe that he may have become infuriated at his own daughter for leaving home at an early age and enjoying the company of older men, allowing them to take advantage of her, although he may have been more angered towards himself. Then there's Peter Dreyfuss. In one of Leonora's final letters addressed to her family, she spoke of a big-time director whom had promised her a leading role in an upcoming movie, The Many Wives of Alfredo Smith. This is something that Dreyfuss had never confirmed or denied. It was rumoured that the director would belittle his female cast members, often referring to them as harlequins. These rumours point to the manner in which the remains were altered and left on display. Dreyfuss was also believed to have been a heavy narcotics user during the early 70s, with many stating that he had a twisted mind and an unseemly obsession with the macabre as art. Next is Everett Rogan, a gentleman whom Leonora briefly dated in 1972. Acquaintances of the pair stated that Everett was consumed by jealousy and paranoia concerning Leonora's many rich and famous male suitors in the entertainment industry. The actress broke the relationship off after just 2 months when his obsession shone through, as he would follow her around whenever she attended work. Police records show that she had to take out a restraining order against Rogan in 1973, 2 years prior to her death. Johnny Sutton, a janitor in Leonora's apartment building that was described by others as creepy. A £300 man with learning difficulties, he seemed an easy target for police to nail his case on, but as he lacked capacity during questioning and would give false confessions, the charges against the individual were dropped. We also have David Richards, patriarch of the Richards Majestic movie dynasty. Although there seemed no clear motive, David was rumoured to be involved in corruption, evidence tampering and blackmail surrounding the case, leading to many believing that if he himself wasn't the killer, it was someone else in the movie industry he knew, and knew well, someone with the financial backing and high-ranking connections to have the power to throw the investigation. Allegedly, Mr. Richards was sent a significant amount of money 2 months following the death of Leonora, although the connection was never proven. We also have the fact that the founder had received a letter from the killer detailing the crime, which as we know is now scattered throughout Los Santos. Then there's his son, Solomon Richards, whom currently oversees the operations of his father's business. Leonora and Solomon had worked together on Rum Runner, where the actress is believed to have firmly been recognised in the eyes of Vinewood. Leonora had made disparaging comments concerning Solomon following the release of the movie, to which he publicly responded angrily, insulting her acting capabilities, mentioning the term brisket. Some have taken this to refer back to the hand scribbling on Leonora's remains. Next, we have Carly Ferran, Leonora's former roommate, who became obsessed with the actress, even going as far as altering their gender identity to meet Leonora's, as well as attiring in a similar fashion. Referring back to the anonymous phone call that led to the discovery of Leonora's remains, police described the caller as a woman with a deep voice. Betsy O'Neill, a fellow actress famed in the 1940s and 50s, was also considered a suspect. As she was well into her 40s by 1975, it's rumoured that she was passed over for the leading role in The Many Wives of Alfredo Smith in favour of Leonora, prompting jealousy as a motive. Then we have Jessica Barlow, a lady claiming to be Leonora's best friend during her high school years, although family and friends claim to have no memory of her. Following the death of the actress, Jessica capitalised on this within the press, and even portrayed the deceased actress in an adult film version of the events. And lastly, we have Jeff Campion, the very same who created this website. Jeff admittedly states that he is obsessed with Leonora and that he was briefly considered a suspect in the 1980s due to his seedy behaviour reported by his now ex-wife. He also admits to have a shrine room of sorts in honour of the actress. So with 11 prime suspects in total, each with their own motives, albeit some more concerning than others, we still have yet to answer the question: who killed Leonora Johnson? So all that we really have left to go on is the letter of confession itself. Scattered into 50 pieces across the state of San Andreas, it's time to go hunting. I didn't record the full process as there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube already, one of which I'll link in the video description below for those wishing to complete this side quest for themselves, but after finding all of the torn pieces, we can now piece together the confession in its entirety. Addressed to David Solomon, it reads as follows. My dearest David, listen, I know you're a little offended by your discovery of my petite indiscretion, as the French would say, but I want you to understand that's all it is, a little indiscretion. I agree wholeheartedly with you, my actions were a little inhumane, but that's not a bad thing. Inhumanity is the very watchword, the very currency, and the very lifeblood of an artist. My inhumanity makes me human. It's thanks to my inhumanity that I am able to speak to people with the moral authority of the sinner and the creator all at once. I had to kill her, and I had to do it in that way, the way that would hurt me most, by torturing her slowly and painfully, then sending mementos from our date to her family. And in the years since, I've had to, at times, goad her family into further suffering, just to prove how very much I understand suffering and how I can represent it best as an artist. Isn't it better that one family suffers so the world can be free to enjoy, to learn and to be cleansed by my masterpiece? Don't even bother answering that. The answer is obvious, and if you get it wrong, well, you're less of a man than I thought. But let us not concern ourselves with such trivialities. We are artists, my friend, the last of a dying breed. I dread the day when you finally retire and Solomon takes over. Sure, I love that kid, but he's a remorseless hack with none of your passion, your creative zeal. He's a weak, livid moralizer hiding in the body of a Vinewood decadent. He understands nothing about why we act as we do. Not because we can, but because we must. And that's the thing. Some people take advantage of their position in this town for pleasure, as if sleeping with multiple young girls, or torturing hitchhikers, or eating dogs could ever be fun. It's awful. I only do it to experience, so my art is truer, deeper, more meaningful, and I believe you know that. I cannot wait for you to read my new draft of Leonora. I have really removed the cliches that ruined Shakespeare's plays and found the power, the moment, the thing we talked about that wonderful night in Mexico when we paid the hookers to stab each other. Anyway, I hope you and Rachel have worked through your problems. I look forward to making Friday supper again soon. You've always been an inspiration to me. Your dear friend, Dreyfuss. Peter Dreyfuss, the man who would belittle his female casting members, the man who had an obsession with the macabre of art, the man who was so under the influence of narcotics during this time that he couldn't seemingly separate fiction from reality. He believed his act, amongst other heinous acts, to be justified in the name of art, deeming it as necessary for the good of the world of Vinewood. So with all the pieces of the puzzle now complete, it's time to pay the sadistic individual a visit.
I said, are you Peter Dreyfuss?
Who are you? You want an autograph? No offense, but I'm not reading any screenplays.
Huh?
I mean, you're from the hood, right? You don't want to pick up the guns, cause like, if you pick up the guns, everybody dies. It's tragedy, pathos, tedium. I'm bored. Unless, you're here to copulate.
I'm here to what?
People, they want to consume me. They always have. To touch the hem, so to speak. And who's to hold that against them? I don't. Well, what time is it? I got a few minutes before my colonic, if you want to suck me off, I wouldn't mind.
Motherfucker, do I look like I'm here to suck you off?
I don't know what you're here for, chum. You're like some barely credible deus ex machina sent here by random chance in order to challenge my impending divinity.
Man, I don't know what the fuck you just said, but guess what? I'm here for this, chum.
Hey, what's this about?
Do you know her?
Security?
What's her name?
Security, this guy's trying to rape me!
Leonora Johnson.
It's not what you think.
The one whose parents you fucked over after you killed her just because you could.
How much you want? How much money you want?
I got enough motherfucking money, homie.
I'm famous. Fuck you! I can do whatever I want. Those are the rules, civilian! Get away from me! I'm an artist! I'm not bound by the petty laws of the masses! It was Solomon Richards, not me! I was set up! You haven't even heard my side of the story!
You wrote it all down, you fucking idiot!
You've got the wrong man! Oh, shit! My tires are blown!
Dreyfuss, get the fuck back here!
Gonna...
Say hello to Leonora, motherfucker.
But why the confession? He doesn't seem to be the type to feel guilt or remorse. I would assume that this was an act of gloating. If not the world, then at least one person would know of this heinous act that Peter Dreyfuss considered a necessary achievement. Dreyfuss was a narcissist who preyed on the young, weak and vulnerable, considering them easy targets. He would use his stature as a successful and powerful Vinewood director to manipulate those he considered lesser than himself. His obsession with power, his obsession with control, and his obsession with art as well as the movies tragically caused the demise of the young and sweet actress Leonora Johnson. If you enjoyed what you saw today, be sure to hit like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share with those you may feel would enjoy content such as this. If you wish to see me cover any specific topic or genre across the GTA games, Red Dead Redemption series, or any other for that matter, be sure to let me know in the comment section below, and I'll do my utmost to get it out there for you guys. Thank you all for watching. You've been listening to Phil of Filbee Gaming, and I'll see you in the next video.